Can you just talk, buddy?
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all this time you'd like to meet. She's beauty, she's grace. Okay, well. He'd really just let you do that.
Do you want to run lines?
I'm kind of nervous when I'm there.
I know, this is our first in-house audience, Mom.
It's nerve-wracking.
Don't pay any attention to me. I'm over here stressing about my busy weekend.
Working 8 to 9.
What a way to make living.
Hi,
Hi,
everyone, and welcome back to Is Anyone Else Confused? We're your hosts, Cheyenne.
And Alana, and Is Anyone Else Confused is a podcast that focuses on navigating young adulthood and the many feelings that come along with it.
Each week, we'll cover a different aspect of growing up.
We'll chat all things professional to private, LinkedIn to Bumble, debt to financial freedom, and mental illness to mental health.
So grab a snack, grab a drink, grab your antidepressants, and let's get into the nitty-gritty.
We're good.
Welcome back.
Ciao.
Week, or episode
5.
5? We've done this for 5?
Yeah, because post-secondary scaries was 3.
Oh.
And then body image was 4.
Mm-hmm.
We have a cheeky little bonus episode somewhere.
Yeah. So
And
this is
this is 5.
officially number 5.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we've been live for a month now. Proud of us.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
5 weeks of recording.
Yeah.
We're already out of topics.
No, we're not. We have a whole list. It's just deciding what we want to talk
Mhm.
about each day. This looks so horrible. Do you want to use it?
No.
Okay.
I'm hot.
So this week,
Fat disclaimer.
go ahead.
I sound like, I'm sick. Because I am. So I'm sorry if my voice is bugging you. But it's
Bugging
just,
me too.
It's just what has to happen right now. Other disclaimer, we have a live audience. Our mom is in the kitchen.
Yeah, our kitchen is literally right there, and Mom is watching for the first time.
And making a peach crumble. Because
So,
she's a little Betty Crocker.
if you hear a little bit of chopping, dicing,
Flouring.
measuring, that's your girl, Teresa.
You want to say hi?
Hi, kids.
Hi, kids.
Where I haven't told anybody else this yet, but I'm thinking for our first vlog, we should record setting up the Christmas decorations tonight.
Okay.
So you might catch little glimpses of Mom there in the videos.
She doesn't get very festive when we decorate. She gets overwhelmed.
Anyway, cross that bridge when we get there. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about hobbies.
/ self-care.
Oh, I feel like the camera's too high. I should put it down a little bit.
It's okay, my toes aren't in it. No free content.
So, yeah, this week we're going to be talking about hobbies as requested by Mom. We're going to be relating it to self-care and just kind of reiterating the importance of taking care of yourself through activities that are good for both your mental being and like your body, I guess, in the sense of like you want to do things and like the restlessness, especially with SAD and the time change that we've experienced recently, seasonal affective disorder. I hope I'm saying that right.
I think it's seasonal affective depression.
Depression affects a lot of people, so we thought it would be a good topic to cover today. I think I'll be doing a lot of the talking today because Alana is feeling a little under the weather. It's not COVID, so
It's
have
not
no
COVID.
fear.
We did a test. My mom did a test. She's a little scientist.
But Do you want to get started so then you can like rest your voice, or do you want me to get started?
In terms of hobbies, I'm not your gal. I'm not really like a hobby person, but I've never been a hobby person. Like, even as a kid, I feel like I would do things for like 3 weeks and then I'd be like, I'm bored, and I wouldn't go anymore. This moment of crumble. Yeah, so I've never really been a hobby person, but as I get older, I can acknowledge how important they are for like your mental health, especially in like the year that we've had with COVID and stuff. So learning to like be okay alone and to be okay doing things alone, even if it's not necessarily something you routinely do, like in the sense of a hobby, is really important. So for me, a lot of my identity, which we talked about, is being a student. So I'm trying to teach myself that I'm more than a student. So I'm still in the learning process of finding hobbies and developing hobbies. But I'm getting there. I journal a lot. I don't know if that counts as a hobby, but
Yeah.
I journal a lot.
I mean,
Like,
that combines like self-care and hobbies as like one activity, right?
I go on walks,
Mm-hmm.
which sounds silly. But if you've never gone for a walk by yourself, go for a walk by yourself. That is life-changing stuff there. And then, other than that, I don't know. I read a lot of, like, self-care books and self-help books, which, again, falls under, like, the self-care thing. But in terms of hobbies, I'm kind of, maybe you're like me, and I kind of don't have a hobby, really, that I'm super dedicated to.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe that's something that we can challenge Alana to this week. And you guys watching, if you don't have a hobby, I think it would be really good to set the intention for the week. And even thinking, like mapping out, what do I enjoy doing that's not on social media, like that's not on your phone, that's not... I love watching YouTube, but I don't think having that on as background noise while I do like other activities is like a hobby, you know what I mean? I think making this podcast is like a hobby, but I wouldn't say like being uncomfortable in your own silence.
Yeah, I'm fully an iPad kid. Like, anything I do, I put a YouTube video on in the back. Like, I need, like, noise. But I'm teaching myself to try and not do that.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, it's important to understand that that's not self-care. Like, setting the time to... Yes, Mom?
I have a question and a comment.
Yes.
Also, you guys setting limits on your social media, which Alana was telling me about the other day. I didn't know you could do that, and I think that's fabulous because I know I spend far more time than I should on social media, and I'm 100. So you guys doing that, I think that's really important self-care. And it takes a lot to do that. Like, even when I have a book to read, I'm like, okay, I'm going to read. And then reading never happens because I go on TikTok or I go on Instagram. So in the way of self-care, I think that's huge. That's all. Back to my crumble.
In case you guys couldn't hear that, I don't know how good the mic is.
We're getting new mics. We're getting new mics.
Yeah. But in case you didn't hear that, Mom was talking about being intentional with your social media use and setting limits, like time limits, on the amount that you spend on each app or like on your screen time in general.
Which, if you don't know how to do that, on an iPhone, it's settings, screen time, and then from there it's pretty self-explanatory. So I give myself an hour limit on all of my apps. I'm so sorry. An hour limit on all of my apps per day. And then from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., I don't have access to any apps except, like, FaceTime, my phone, like, the call thing, messages, and a couple apps that, like, aren't necessarily social. So.
Yeah. And Mom was just saying, like, when she has, like, a book or something, it's easy to get distracted by the social media, that, like, the TikToks and the more fast-paced, like... less involved, or less mindful.
That's not an ad.
Yeah. You can't see what I'm taking because it's not sponsored. Sorry, keep going.
But even as an adult, like, she's basically admitting to, like, being an iPad kid. Like, it's so easy to get lost in the simplicity and the mindlessness of technology. And I think it's really important to, as she was suggesting, like, be intentional in when you're using those devices and the apps, how they make you feel, and what you could be doing with your time instead. Like, how can you better yourself instead of, I think, comparing yourself, which is what you do on a lot of those apps, right?
And I want to do, like, a whole social media episode where,
Yeah.
like, I want to go deeper into that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think social media and self-care go hand in hand in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
definitely want to do something with that. But
just to get back to the hobby side of it, because we do want to advocate for hobbies and how good they can be, I can briefly talk about, like, my hobbies, or what I consider to be my hobbies, and then a little bit of, like, what I do for self-care, and then maybe you can talk about what you do for self-care, and then we can kind of wrap it up suggesting new hobbies for you guys to try out this week, or that might inspire you to think of something that you actually wanted to do all those years ago but you forgot. A lot of it, I think, is, like, getting back to what you enjoyed doing as, like, a kid.
yeah,
Like, a lot of finding hobbies is,
it's
like,
healing your inner child.
and just getting back to things that you liked doing, right? So for me, my hobbies, apart from, like, working out, I think is, like, a combination of self-care and a hobby. So I would count that as, like, something that I think is good. But I would also say, like, painting your nails, or, like, putting a hair mask in. Like, those are good things that can, in one sense, be considered a hobby, because, like, it's exciting to go through the process and, like, the ritual of it. But I don't know if, like, painting your nails counts as a hobby.
Well, some people get really into it. I mean, if you're doing, like, designs
Yeah.
and stuff,
Yeah.
hats off. I can't even paint mine
Yeah.
regular. So, but I think learning not to be so hard on yourself about what you consider a hobby is also important, you know?
Yeah, because sometimes it can be overwhelming where you're, like, thinking so hard in this episode.
And a
like,
hobby doesn't become a hobby. you
Yeah,
know?
like, oh my god, what is a hobby enough to be considered a
like,
hobby?
I don't knit a whole blanket in a weekend. But, you
Yeah.
know, if you knit a row,
Yeah.
good for you. That's your hobby.
Yeah.
You know?
So one thing that I discovered recently, or I discovered throughout the pandemic, but I only, like, committed to doing recently as a hobby, because my days are so jam-packed with, like, school and work and life and everything. I wanted something that was off my phone and brought me joy, and, like, I like creating stuff. So I wanted to do something that would be creative and fulfilling, but also, like, I would have something physical to show for it. So I started, like, scrapbook journaling. I brought it here for you guys to take a little look at. But I essentially found it on TikTok, and it's just, like, finding old postcards or stamps or bits of cool paper that you like, stickers, like, anything that you can find, either antiquing, which is another great hobby, or you can order the stuff online. A lot of it I ordered from Shein, but then I went antiquing with my cousin, and I found some, like, postcards that I wanted to use. Like, it's just a really interesting way to give some... One second, the microwave's going off.
Go off. There you go. Sorry. That's okay.
I'm sure you guys can't hear that anyways.
Yeah.
But
We're giving way
it's-
too much credit to this
Yeah. But it's a really great way to create, and if you're into, like, sustainability and the environment, it's a great way to give, like, packaging or old notebooks, like, a second life.
Show it.
Oh. Mom is so proud of this journal. You would think I, like, wrote a novel and it was #1 on, like, the New York Times bestseller list. But you can use any blank notebook or lined notebook that you want. And then...
It's a loud episode, y'all.
Yeah.
Family's home. Merry Christmas.
And then I just, like, kind of collage with it. So like I fill different pages with like a lot of stuff from like the dollar store. I have stickers, stamps, old bookmarks, like little pieces of like lace.
Give them
Do
up
you-
close.
Okay, you pick the sheet that I should show them.
Cheyenne gets shy about it, but she's really proud of it, so be nice.
I just like doing it. It's not, I'm not selling them.
Here. Show them these.
Dewey. So it looks like, whoa, sorry guys, I'm standing right in front of our lights. But it looks like that. Everybody's making fun of me, but it's pretty fun.
We're not making fun of her, it's just
No.
cute. It's like,
It's just like something to do.
you know, when you were in grade school and you had to make a title page for every unit?
Yeah, it's the best part of school, and that's what this journal is.
So that's good if you're creative.
Yeah, I think it's cool to have something creative, even if you don't consider yourself a creative. Like,
I think
I would
everyone's
love, yeah, like I would love to try pottery. That's another thing that I really want to try as a hobby. But my boss, she does like painting, and she's gotten really good at it, and she's taken like classes in it, and that's like a really great way to find a hobby is like to take a class in it, right?
Or even Natasha, like she goes thrifting, she goes looking for vinyls, and like,
And that was a lot of fun.
we went with her to Toronto.
Yeah, but
And
I
did
would
that.
do that again, like just by myself. Like I
Yeah.
had like a great time doing that.
So even if you want to like go to your local thrift store, have a peek around, it's so like mindless that it becomes a hobby almost because you forget that
And
you're
it's
doing
cool
it.
to like find the antique stores that you like or the record shops that you like. So even something that gets you out of your house, I think, can be considered a hobby, and that's kind of the importance of us talking about hobbies because, like you said, how do you know? Like, there's a lot of pressure on like what is a hobby and what isn't. And like I think traditional things like gardening, painting,
They're not always
maybe like
attainable.
seeing like visiting museums and stuff, like a lot of those things, like
Yeah.
if you only think of those
In this
more old
economy?
school things as like hobbies, you might feel like, well, I'm never going to have a hobby, or
Yeah.
what's the point, or you're not going to get it because it's not something that you're interested in.
Redefining hobbies.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here at Is Anyone Else Confused? We are redefining hobbies.
Maybe you want to start a podcast. I mean, we're 5 weeks in and we got our first fan letter.
Oh, yeah.
So this one's for Roslyn. I hope I'm saying your name right. We love you. You literally made us blush.
Yeah. We, like, ran to each other at the same time. We were like, what'd you say?
So for anybody that doesn't know, we have an Instagram. Follow us.
At Is Anyone Else Confused?
And somebody that we don't know, like a stranger, essentially, sent us the sweetest message, just saying like she really appreciated the podcast, and it was really encouraging because we never hear that kind of feedback. Like we post these videos, but we don't know who's like watching them or who's on the other end. So
Except
that
for
was-
Alicia.
Yeah, we
And
know
our mom.
Alicia, my mom, and Natasha, but we don't know who the other views are. Like
Yeah.
I know Kat from school is watching them, but other than those like 4 people, we don't know where the other views come from, right? So it was really, really cool and special to
She was so sweet.
connect with somebody who like could genuinely be a friend and who was feeling all the things that we're feeling and like felt validated through.
And I think it was even validation for us where, like, we did this podcast and we started this podcast about your 20s and feeling lost. But in that, we're still in our 20s.
Yeah.
We still feel lost. We still crave validation from other people to make sure that what we're doing is what everyone else is doing in a way. Like, we're all in the same boat. So it was kind of nice, even apart from, like, the podcast, just to hear from someone else our age that, like, that is what it's like.
Outside of our friend groups and the people
Yeah.
that we usually talk with who may have similar feelings.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to hear somebody removed from that narrative that's still like aligned with everything that we were saying and was like encouraging us to like keep going.
Yeah.
Because it can feel like with any hobby, you get to a point where you're like, why am I doing this? Or I could be doing something else with my time. Or like it's so easy to like get stuck in a rut. And you think those kinds of, like, reminders are really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So if you're watching, thanks.
And if you're listening on Spotify, it's probably January, but we got there, didn't we? Welcome back.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Spotify's a wreck.
We're working on it.
Anyways, self-care.
Self-care.
Let us know what you do for a hobby down in the comments below.
Like this video if you have a hobby, and like this video if you don't have a hobby. We need engagement. We're working for AdSense, baby.
So self-care, which is something I think we're both a little bit more well-versed in than hobbies.
But I think that's like a whole episode in itself. I have a couple more hobbies that I want
Oh,
to talk
go
about.
off, Queen, about your hobbies. Sorry.
I wanted to talk about reading. I think reading is a really important hobby that's like so understated. In terms of creativity, I was
Don't
thinking...
rush, girl. Take your time with your hobbies. I feel so bad. Oh, I thought you were done. Go off. Tell me about reading. What do you like to read?
I like reading almost anything.
My throat's numb now. Can you tell? I'm having the time of my life.
Do you want to know my current read?
Yeah, give us your current read.
I've been neglecting all of my hobbies because I've been so busy, which is the exact opposite of what we're saying. Come up here, Dewey.
Good boy.
Good boy. Oh, you want to sit in the middle? Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna then have his bone, and we're gonna. That's his hobby.
Yeah. So my current read, which I've been neglecting, is Daisy Jones and the Six by my girl, Taylor Jenkins Reid, who also wrote The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Malibu Rising, among a million other things. So talented. Love her as an author. I have never said that about any author. I'm not like
An
author
person.
fiend, but I really do love her work. So that is my current read. Can you get his bone?
Yeah.
That's a hobby in itself, walking around to Chapters. Even if
Yeah.
you're not a reader, that store is free therapy.
Yeah. Well, it's costly. We always buy something, but technically she's free.
Yeah. Other things that I like, or I think are good hobbies, Mom's gotten into baking these apple crumbles and peach crumbles, and even though it's only one dish, you can see like it lights up her whole world, and she gets so excited. So cooking or baking is a great hobby, and we're proud of you, Mom.
She's so cute. I like watch her
I
do
know.
something, and I'm like,
I know.
What am I gonna do now?
Other hobbies that I think are important, if you have a pet, you can like just hanging out with them, I feel like is a great hobby. But like if you're wanting to do like tricks or training, that's a really good way to spend a lot of time. Like if you have like treats or chicken, like just boiled chicken or something in your pocket, like you can get a lot done and time goes by so quickly. Don't bug him.
He's got something on his eyelashes.
Did you get it?
No, it's crispy. Crispy. Yeah.
And then, oh, I wanted to say coloring is really good.
Color by numbers? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, coloring and color by numbers. I was going to bring them up separately because I think they're like two different kinds of coloring.
Good. Okay, go off on your coloring. Cheyenne has a coloring app.
Yeah, and even if that's digital, like I think it's still it's a good way to disconnect because you're not spending time on like social media and you're not like comparing yourself, like you're literally just like coloring. Do you want to talk about your color by numbers moments?
We got a book last Christmas that was color by numbers
From Kaylee, if you're watching.
from Kaylee. First, it was stressful because your anxiety's still present and you're like, oh my god, I can't color in the lines.
What if I get it? Yeah.
I am 3 years old. Why can't I color? Why doesn't it look good? And then, peace. My mind off. For the first time in my life, I had no thoughts. I was really just sitting there, orange, red.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, like, there's also, if you prefer painting, there's paint by numbers that you can do, which we'll link in the description because I don't remember the name where I got those.
You can even get them at like Michael's and stuff.
Yeah.
The one that you got was just custom.
You can do custom ones, yeah, which we'll link, but well, maybe if they wanna sponsor us. But that's really good if you prefer painting. Filming your podcast down by the crick is really good if you prefer cricking.
Movies. Alana's not a TV or a movie person, but I love to get lost in a good movie, whether that's going to the movies, watching them at home. Alana went to her first VIP movie since the panty started, and she loved it. We had like the best time. So I think that's a really fun hobby.
Yeah, those are good hobbies. I like to, I'm more of a music person than a movie person. So if you're like me, it's digital, so I know we're saying, like, get off your phone, go do something. But I go on Spotify or I go on Apple Music, and I just make playlist after playlist after playlist. I literally make playlists for, like, people in my life, for moments in my life, for everything in my life. So, like, Cheyenne has a certain playlist on my Spotify, my mom has a playlist, and my boyfriend has a playlist, and I have a playlist that I want to play for the first time when I drive, and a playlist I want to play when I'm happy, and a playlist I play when I'm sad. And so do that if you're a music person. Mindless. So easy to just scroll and add. And there's no comparison, there's no worrying about anything. It's just you and your music, and you're good. So that's fun if you want to do that.
What else is a good hobby? Puzzling. We love a good puzzle at Christmas time.
But we have a cat. So
what?
I love puzzles.
Yeah, our mom loves puzzles. She gets angry that she can't do them all year round.
Yeah, because the cat.
Because the cat.
Find that puzzle box on Wayfair.
Wayfair, you got just what I need.
They're not sponsoring you.
Mom's really concerned about sponsors.
Mom said, get the sponsors already. Get them.
Going back to your books, I like highlighting books and like making notes in the margin of like things that I like, which stresses Cheyenne out a lot.
It depends on the book. Like, I'm not gonna do that with a chapter book. Like, with a
Yeah,
novel.
I don't really read fiction stories.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really enjoy those. I can't get into them. But yeah, so if you're like me, I love interacting with a book in that sense, where like highlighting, underlining, taking notes, putting sticky notes on it. Oh, welcome back. Yeah, so I just like interacting with books. That's important to me. It makes the experience better.
Because I didn't.
So, if there's something in a book that I like, I'll take a highlighter and I'll like color code the book basically, or I'll use those little tabs. What are those little tabs called? Like little
Post-it
marking
tabs?
Post-it tabs, and I'll color code my tabs. And then if there's a part of like a self-help book or like a devotional book that I'm reading that I really relate to, I'll highlight it and underline it, and then sometimes I'll take a sticky note and I'll write like what life stage I'm in and why I relate to it. And then it makes it really enjoyable to like look back on later when maybe you're in a different point in time and like you don't relate to it as much, you know? So that's what I do to make books more enjoyable for me, because I'm 12 and apparently I can't just sit and read. I have to move. So
No, but I think it's really important, especially as we get older, to keep learning. And if that's like your thing, if you only like reading either fashion magazines, or you only like reading self-help books, or you only like reading fiction, like as long as you're working to learn something, I think that's kind of like an underlying thing in hobbies. Like, yes, they can be mindless, but I think they ultimately help you grow or like find peace. Like, there is some satisfaction at the end, and there is like a purpose, even if the purpose is like intentionally to do nothing, if that makes sense. Like, even those Buddha boards, like from chapters that are so like relaxing, you literally just paint with water, but then it all dries away, like nothing's permanent, but you can still feel so satisfied and like accomplished with something like that.
Yeah, agreed. As long as the hobby brings you peace, then the hobby's doing its job.
Candles? That's a good... Making candles? Candle
Bestie
making?
said-
That's a good hobby.
Bestie said candle making. We got the candlestick maker, the baker. I'm the butcher, apparently. Cotton baloney.
Oh, yeah. Gardening. Plants. That's like
Yeah.
a great, great hobby.
Cheyenne killed all our plants this summer.
But I did start gardening, and I think that's what's important.
Yeah.
Because I'll keep doing it.
Was not an option. Yeah. School just
The live audience.
Is anyone else confused?
Hmm?
I was trying to say, conception. You know, is anyone else
Oh.
confusedception? But it didn't work.
No.
Our live audience is really disruptive this week. Don't clip his food.
Do you have anything else that you want to add hobby-wise? Mom, do you have anything that you think we've missed?
No, not off the top of my head.
Mom's voice goes 7 octaves higher when there's a camera on, not
Yeah.
even when it's facing her.
I get nervous.
Oh, no, not off the top of my head. Guys! One day, when we get to 50 subscribers, we're going to release that video. Okay, let's wrap it up.
Okay, sorry. I was loving my dog.
So, moral of the story.
Oh, guys,
Guys!
Brittany's free.
Aww. Good
That's
for
nice.
Brittany.
It's Brittany, bitch.
So this week we challenge you to find a hobby, or at least think of a hobby, and commit to trying it next weekend that you are going to do just for you. Whether it's baking, cooking,
Candlestick making,
painting,
reading,
watching movies,
writing,
making playlists,
listening to music,
Go for a walk.
go for a walk, do some exercise,
play with your dog,
scrapbook journal.
regular journal.
We just hope you
We hope
find
you do
something.
you. Yeah.
And we hope you bring it back here or bring it to our Instagram. Let us know what you're doing. And be honest if you just didn't have time this week, because I think that's a whole other episode that we're going to talk about is burnout. Like, how do you
Yeah.
not feel guilty for not having time
Yeah.
sometimes?
Yeah.
I guess that's all we have to say, right?
Okay, good.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please make sure to follow us on Instagram at IsAnyoneElseConfused.
And our personal Instagrams. And that's it.
Subscribe,
Like, comment,
hit
share.
the notification bell. We upload every Sunday. And
Script.
we'll be on Spotify soon.
Hopefully.
We will be.
Hopefully. Alright.
I love ya.
I love ya.
And in case no one's told ya, we
We
love
love
ya.
ya.
Bye, guys.
Big long outro from me. Better get paid overtime. Once you say bye, Doug, bye.